Hi, my name is Frei. I'm an entrepreneur, and this is my solo podcast where I talk about things that actually work in business and in life. Today, we are talking about how perfect timing is killing your business. Very often in the past, I had the problem that I had an idea that didn't work because of timing, or I wasn't in the right headspace, or I didn't have enough money. There's never good timing in business. You just started a new job, or you are in a new house or a new apartment, or you have a new partner, you having kids, or whatever it is. There are 1,000 excuses. And very, very often we have the tendency to use these excuses not to start something. Timing is killing your business idea. That's why it's very important not to wait for the perfect timing, but to jump into it immediately. There are two concepts I want to talk about. First concept, we already talked about in other podcast. Compression and expansion is, just as a recap, a framework where you can try to predict the future. So, because often people are thinking when they are starting a business, they're trying to ride the current wave. And the current wave is often the thing that's in the hype cycle right now. Probably right now, when this podcast comes out, we are still in the AI hype cycle. 5 years ago, we would have been in the blockchain hype cycle. Jumping on hype cycles is often not a good way to start a company. Why? Because when you're within the hype cycle, it's hard to get funding because there are already people who started it many years before you. They started the funding already. They got the great people already. And just jumping on hypes is really, really hard. The other thing that is more important is you don't want to get the timing right. Therefore, I'm a big advocate of focusing on your personal brand. The personal brand gives you the freedom and the flexibility to test something without timing it right. What do I mean by that? In my example, I'm focusing strongly on personal branding. Why? Because I see that we are moving towards a future where the personal brand is even more important than corporate brand. For example, if you look at the top football players in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, they have more followers on their social media accounts than the clubs they're playing for. These similarities will also happen in business, for example, on LinkedIn. So if you have a big reputation on LinkedIn, probably you will get hired because of your reputation on LinkedIn, the things you've done. And this will help you in the future. And if you have a large LinkedIn following, there might be that you have bigger opportunities and you might even have a bigger brand than the company you're working for. That's why it's so important to build the personal brand, because if you have the personal brand, you can choose and you can test with small sample sizes businesses. Often people are afraid that they will kill their reputation if they're testing things on the personal brand. But if you frame it and if you just tell people, you know what, I'm testing something, I want to get your feedback. This is a great opportunity to test it and to see if it might work. And if it works, you can scale it up. And if it doesn't work, you can just say, hey, it was a test. If you take these two frameworks and put it together, the compression and expansion wave, where you see the future, what is happening in the future, plus with your personal brand, where you can focus on first documenting what you are doing and what you're trying and be very transparent about it and get a large following, then you can combine these two systems and try to build a business on it. And then you are independent from just getting the timing right. You're independent if you're moving into a new apartment or you have a new job. Because you have the personal brand, you see what's the next wave and you can start building and testing your thing. The whole point is you need to test the different ideas quickly and have the advantage of trying things quickly instead of investing a lot of money and not seeing if it will work out and putting all your life savings, for example, into it. And one very important thing at the end is we have intuition. I'm a strong believer in following your intuition. Why? Because it's a lot of data that is maybe not in an Excel spreadsheet, but your mind is thinking about these things a lot. So if you think the timing is right to do X, Y, Z, probably it is. Trusting your gut feeling, what you think might be a product or a service that's missing in the market, you're probably right. but we lost trust in this gut feeling. And then often it happens that we're looking back a couple of years later and we think, hey, I should have proceeded with that idea. This is a sign for you to try it, but use compression expansion as a framework. Build your personal brand because that will reduce your cost of testing things. And then if you have this gut feeling, go for that gut feeling.